I know. All right, I'd like to call to order the February 4th, 2025 work session of the Lower Suffolk Township Board of Supervisors, and ask everyone to join me in the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag. One nation, indivisible. Thank you. That brings us to our public comment period. Is there anyone wishing to be recognized? No takers? We'll move on. Public Works Director, Mr. Jones.
Mr. Chairman, you'll indulge, would prefer to do the community center presentation first, if we have a theme here.
Here.
So I'll turn it over to Tony from Boyle Construction and Laura and Sylvia from MKSD on the back. Well, both the plan, please.
Here, not off to a good start.
Doesn't work.
It doesn't work? Okay, great. We'll just move that out of the way. Okay, great. All right. Well, good morning. My name is Laura Clifton. I'm with MKSD Architects. We have presented several concepts before the board previously, and we're back to present another concept now in a different location. CKS prepared an initial site plan, which has kind of been our starting off point for where the building is located, the general footprint of the building. So I think you may already be looking at the kind of overall site plan, but we'll just kind of start there. So as I mentioned, when we kind of started laying out the concept for this, we did try to work within the existing footprint that CKS had prepared. Once we dove in a little bit more, we did realize that we kind of needed to tweak that a little bit to make sure that all of the programming needs would fit on the inside of the building, and the areas that needed to be on the first floor could fit on the first floor, second floor, etc. So we are looking at a building footprint of around 20,000 square feet that's located kind of on the existing site, with the pools and the ball field, with some existing parking. As I understand it, Barry Isaac will be taking a further look at the layout of the site and kind of how all of the parking and driveway elements are where those are located. So we didn't dive too deep into that. We mainly focused on the interior floor plan and kind of the impact that that had on the footprint. So we'll go ahead and take a look at the first floor plan.
Just so everybody knows, we have a meeting set up with Barry Isaac for next week.
Yeah.
Based on the feedback from the board today, and if there's any changes to the schematic footprint, we'll then make those between now and Wednesday, and we'll basically be handing them a footprint that they can then work the site work around, just so you know.
Okay, so taking a look at the interior floor plan. So kind of one of the main priorities that was identified was making sure that the senior center spaces were on the first floor. And, you know, obviously one of their largest kind of square footage needs is that multi-purpose room that needs about 3,500 square feet. So that's the room in pink that we've labeled as multi-purpose and also potentially shared, not just by the senior center, but, you know, could potentially be used by wider community. So you will see that the majority of the senior center spaces, those are labeled in green, or coded in green, take up, you know, quite a bit of this floor plan. So their kitchen and back of house areas, some storage and delivery off of the parking lot, various activity rooms, their kind of admin and staff suite, library and billiards off of kind of a large entrance lobby and living room area. toilet facilities, and then some additional activity and exercise rooms. And then the remainder of the space is dedicated to the areas that are needed for the pool facility. So kind of an entry and ticket area located at the bottom left corner, some pool staff and first aid areas, women's toilet room and locker room, men's toilet room and locker room, and then a cafe and kitchen area and some pool storage directly off of the pavilion. So kind of still maintaining that buffer around the pavilion and the pool, and keeping the pool's needs still directly adjacent. So that's kind of how the first floor shook out. Obviously, the next step would be to get feedback from the end users, make sure everything's laid out, but this was kind of our first pass at making sure that everything would fit on the first floor.
Just a few notes, I think it's Joe or Doug or maybe even Ken, maybe all three, had pointed out the need to have men's and women's locker room, men's and women's bathrooms off of the, I'll call it the back corner of the building, for those that are at the, ball field or just, just at the park in general.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead and take a look at the second floor and then up for discussion.
That's a great idea. I noticed that with the doors that they open that way. Is there going to be, and as you mentioned, Ken, there, it's a good idea. Would we cut off any portions of that, or would we keep it open or something like that? So then we have just a bathroom. You don't, it's something we're going to consider.
Those are just for the outside. They don't come into the building.
Okay, just making sure.
Yes, just an outside bathroom.
Yes.
So if the activities on the outside of the building, people don't need to enter the building to utilize it.
Perfect.
With the, off the lobby and living area, obviously there's two corridors that go off of that. And if you have people that are accessing the second floor in the evening, will those hallways have, doors that we can restrict access to certain areas and not other areas as you work your way through it? Would that be what you'd envision?
Yeah, I mean, certainly if that's something, if the senior center wanted to keep their activity rooms closed off, they certainly could. I think keeping in mind some of the initial thoughts around all of these kind of activity rooms being multi-purpose and potentially open to the community. But certainly if the senior center, or if it was desired. Yeah. I mean, that's certainly something that we could do.
Colleagues too, the purpose room. Especially, I know I mentioned it to Ken a little bit back, but often, just recently, actually, I was at Lions Pride Park to perform. They had this big multi-room, same thing. I go in, set up for a birthday party, perform for that. But the mother was telling me, I said, "Oh, this is a nice facility. It's brand new." She told me, "Oh, yeah, somebody got it from the class like a month ago." She said every weekend somebody from the class has rented it out because everybody was that impressed. So I mean, it is something that I think could generate, needs for the community, and people could use it. We could benefit as well. I think it's a great opportunity to have that. And none of them have stage. I'll add that. So that's a good take too.
My only last question on that is from the multi-purpose room, and I know in some that I've been in, was there any thought given to I guess the storage delivery tables and chairs, when you're using it for different reasons, there needs to be somewhere to put them. And a lot of times it might be under a stage. Like I know some churches, they slot them under the stage, so I didn't know if they're what was in close proximity so that when that gets collapsed down, they can be moved out for something else.
Maybe the storage and delivery could turn and the kitchen could turn. Keep the same.
Just rotate.
Yeah, and just rotate, and then you could slide in and have a spot.
That was the one comment I have with that as well. They had like a broom closet too, because other things, if you do rent it, it's easy to go in, grab brooms for everybody, just push brooms kind of thing. But you're right, they folded them up. That's a great point.
Yeah, no, that's great because both the kitchen and the storage need kind of direct access to
Right.
the multi-purpose area. Yeah, that's great.
Also, maybe a bathroom near the kitchen area. And if staff is working in the kitchen, has a long way to go. Use the restroom back. I don't know if we put something down there in the building that the staff could use or something like that.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, is there any way to, the ones that are meant for the external could also have an internal?
Yeah, that would.
Looks difficult to get.
I mean, you've got, yeah, no, but I was thinking if there's a way that you've got a lot of square footage between the men's, women's.
Right.
I mean, you could even turn the men's and women's off a hallway there, and that hallway could be locked for external or internal use to a building, and then you could have that access. So that actually, sometimes it's nice to actually, yeah,
Internal and
an
internal.
internal use that
And
way.
even more simply put, just, or it could be locked when not in use.
That's what I
I've
mean,
seen them.
yeah.
We can look at that.
And that goes back to what I liked about it beforehand, that it's there. You know, we don't necessarily have to have somebody in the facilities. I will say too, if we do rent out things and stuff like that, we probably would have to have a staff, the way it worked from my understanding. See, they give a phone call, somebody lets you in, somebody goes back, make sure they clean it. So,
That is
Stuff.
the purpose of that facility's
yeah.
office.
Yeah, the stuff.
Somebody is gonna have to.
But I mean, so if we ran it on like a Saturday or something, somebody would have to, that's something we could go down the list for. But
Be programming. And this is just, because I don't, outside on the inside corner of it, obviously that used to be backstop and stadium seating. You've got the trail. What's between the trail and the building and that corner angle piece that I'm looking at here? You understand what I'm asking? What?
Oh, so that's so we use CKS as underlay
Oh,
of the site
that's-
plan, so that's their kind of original.
that's
building
nothing
footprint, yeah.
related to this. The
Yeah.
trail was added,
Yeah,
but
that's-
everything else.
yeah,
is-
that's kinda
just
showing-
grass or landscape, so.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Trying to figure out what the feature is.
Yeah.
just for anybody seeing it, we're cut off on the back on that. Extend the trail to walk from the baseball fields and just come around the building.
Yeah.
So-
And we'll, again, I think, next steps, once we make these adjustments and any other adjustments you suggest, then that's when we'll take this site to the next level with Isaac's office. It's great though. If you have any external feedback, let us have it because we're gonna meet with them next Wednesday.
Okay, we'll go ahead and take a look at the second floor. And the second floor is really primarily given over to multi-purpose rooms, and rentable community space. So we've got a generous lobby area, coming up off of the stair and the elevator, men's and women's toilet rooms, a warming kitchen, 7 multi-purpose rooms, and then quite a lot of space designated as storage or future, that, could be built a shell, initially, and then converted to either additional multi-purpose rooms or just maintained as storage. So we do have a very generous amount of space, up on the second floor that can be
Are all these
utilized.
these hard walls or are these movable walls?
They can be whatever you want them to be.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah, I would think
Combination.
do them as a lot, like, if you could have one, again, a large leasable space if you open up
Mhm.
those on that. A lot of the college towards the kids and all that, you see that for those uses.
I like having the options of having options too.
Yeah.
Maybe a few not, somebody might not want, but yeah, they do a pretty good job. And this is in terms of your statement earlier, Chris, that's why I was thinking, like, I agree, there's some on the top, but should we consider a multi-purpose room on the bottom too? I mean, we have an elevator, but I don't know. Maybe that's.
I think that is that.
Yeah, I mean, like a smaller room like that as well, or I think the elevator was.
There's 4
Well, they-
rooms labeled as
They're,
activity.
they call that.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, like that. I
That
think
could
there's
be,
a lot
yeah,
of-
that could be sort of flexed between senior center use during the day,
Okay.
or on weekdays, and then on the weekends, they change. Mhm.
Doubled.
Yep,
I think.
that increases the capacity.
Clarid on the first level as multi-purpose.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we've got the kind of the 2 sets of 2 that could be combined for larger. Yeah,
One.
that's right, exactly. Don't start labeling things too soon.
Correct. Okay. Again, I'm thinking younger kids, more flexible.
They can scamper up the stairs.
Storage wise, I see is up here, which is again, same thing. I like that idea. Keep in mind, maybe if we wanted to have tables folded up, stuff like that. I don't know.
Where's all the stuff you guys have stored in the, underneath the,
This does not resolve that.
okay. This has not accounted for that.
Right. We've talked about auxiliary structure to house that stuff for do we try to utilize the newer portion of the scout cabin, even that foundation,
Right.
and put a couple bay doors on it? I'm not sure.
It was the basement and all solid on that.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay. And the dashed overhang line, is that your, that's part of your drawing
Yeah.
or the underlying drawing, just so I know?
That's sort of our proposed where an overhang and kind of a pull through spot might be, but again, I think we'll kind of defer to Barry Isaac for how that pull
Circulation.
through. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I'm not a real fan of dead end parking lot off the corner.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
all,
that's gonna go away.
yeah, all of the parking that you see will need to be reconfigured and, how trucks are gonna be accessing the delivery area, all of those things.
Well, and just from a programming standpoint, I understand the trucks are gonna wanna go over on the one end where, and it, depending on where they are. And I don't know about the camp either, because I know they use the pavilion quite a bit. And I know, for other activities, if you're gonna have some of the youth activities on the second floor, there's that back stairwell. They're often roll over into an outdoor activity from an indoor activity. So between the walking trail and whatever we do for parking, that area over here, I know we have a pavilion that's there that's gonna probably get gone,
Yeah.
but maybe there's an outside, non-programmed, but like use area, a pavilion that could be between the walking trail, and whatever the parking loading area is for
I
both
think.
summer camp and other activities. Because that's often what happens on those activities is they'll roll in and out between.
Yeah,
the
indoor,
And that
outdoor.
back stair, that's one set of stairs would lead you right into that area.
Where are you thinking, Chris? The summit?
I'm thinking, between the walking trail here, like, if you're gonna use the upstairs multi-purpose rooms, you got a stairwell that's right here.
Right.
If this area, from a circulation standpoint, could still be grass and something that's, maybe a pavilion over in this area for outdoor use. Because that would allow you to still circulate your vehicles using these two fields and get a delivery area right off of here. And then, otherwise, as you said, Dave, that's all gonna be dead end. And so that's not really where you wanna be. And that gives you access to the trail, it gives you access to a number of things.
Yeah.
The delivery access is definitely something. That's
Yeah.
gonna be a little bit of a challenge.
Right.
I talked to the senior center about. Trailer deliveries.
Yeah.
They may be a. Go out back down the button, they back into their facility now.
We're gonna have any trash receptacles or anything like that too? Good point. Where would they be?
Yeah, we'll locate them.
That was gonna be my comments. I agree with the turn kind of down there in the parking lot. Obviously, things we have to keep in mind. I think this is great.
Yeah.
I like this location better. The other one, we dug up an old tennis court. Who knows what else? Years ago. But that said too, this is the spot where people come, the community comes to, everybody kind of assumes it's ours as it is anyway. Obviously, things to keep in mind, we use the parking lot for the fair. We have a great going on with the the market that's coming in. We want to make sure we still have adequate room for that as well. So.
No basement, slab on grade.
That's what we would think.
Use of the baseball field. That's
And
adjacent,
keep it-
Spectator seating? Yeah, that's a good question. Doesn't look like-
Spectator seating would become
Yeah.
some aluminum, typical benches like they have.
and there's room, I'm more questioning the room to put that in, and then the roof of the structure sloped, flat. Foul ball,
Yeah.
anyway.
Fireworks observation deck.
I'm sure you'll figure it out.
Make
Yeah,
sure
we'll
have the
take-
roof slide off, but.
We'll get- Any,
Yeah, it's big on that side.
Just to, and I know you have to get to the exterior shell. Are we picturing lots of windows? Are we picturing, yeah, that's,
While I like the footprints, the aesthetics.
the aesthetics are gonna be important. But I do like the idea of it being light and, but yeah.
Daylighting is very important.
what what is the thought? I mean, I'm hearing fairs and I'm hearing all of that, which is great for this.
In May, end of May.
Spillover parking here is going to be important, like not only the regular paved parking for the facility and the use, but I mean, when you get a fair, it's a one or two or whatever times a
They
year.
parked down by the, where we were trying to put this, and they
Right.
parked down at the
In the
other
grass.
parking lot that we have, in the
Try to
grass.
accommodate, I'm not saying we have to accommodate permanent parking, but is there a need to?
No, the
accommodate-
fair operates here, so you get the rides and,
So
activity
so
here.
everybody parks down the other
They
way.
do a drop off, the police manage it, but that's.
And that walking trail is critical because they can go up to the middle school and walk right down
Got it.
and come down. So there's enough auxiliary on the perimeter that activity occurs here, parking occurs.
And that's why it's important to see the trail go down,
Yeah.
because come we have fireworks and you can't go around that side, you know, it's a little for
You
safety.
can finally walk through without walking through the middle of the infield now. No, I think this is, yeah, this, no MPDS permit. You know, yeah, that's, yeah, was just the idea from a cost savings not to have a basement or just a,
We can discuss it.
okay.
I think there was a need because of all the other space we had on the second floor. as
Right.
Well,
I will warn that that area of the property is water that.
Oh, okay, that's fine. So I was just thinking, you wouldn't even have to do a full basement, but you could do, like, on the one corner underneath here, you could get all of the, where that stairwell is, just drop in even a partial basement just to get rid of the utilities,
Mechanical.
the mechanical space.
we can look at that
Well, but once,
later.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's not, it may not be worth, if you have enough space, it may not be worth.
It's not like we're taking advantage of slope there. either,
Right.
Right, I mean, it's
No.
flat, so what you're creating is, you know, you're excavating it out.
Yeah, yeah.
It may, if we have enough space and the mechanical and all the.
It would probably be cheaper to make the building 10 feet wider than it would be to build it.
Agreed. I mean, if we had walkout situation where we had to utilize it, then maybe, but in this
Yeah.
case, we don't have that. I don't think it would make financial sense, especially on the size.
Interesting when they actually shoot this. I think you're gonna find there's a little bit more slope here than you, from here.
I didn't think in that area,
that-
though.
A little bit, you're gonna, yeah,
Baseball field will go down to the existing building,
Right.
but maybe 2 or 3 feet. And
Yeah, I don't think that's enough to create.
create a problem.
I just want to say thanks to the entire team.
Yeah, this is great.
Sometimes working, it seemed like overnight to come up with some of this stuff, and it took a while for us all to get here, but I think, you know, wow, patience.
Well, I think, Ken, this
perseverance.
was when you came up with the idea of maybe up here because of the age of these facilities, and we walked it that one day. This was a great alternative to trying to fight the grading on the other side. Yeah.
Yeah.
This
Thank you.
was the reason why. it was the other side.
Exactly.
So next steps, just to kind of be clear, in terms of, we have survey out here, no,
Not,
Very
yes
upset.
and no.
okay.
We will get it.
Right.
Officially at some point.
Geotech for the footings, gonna
Right.
poke some holes.
All
in the
that'll
ground.
be, all that'll be.
Okay.
I think the way we envision it, at least right now, is that we'll take all this feedback that you've given us, especially with the building footprint, make the adjustments, understand the access points, right? We'll meet with IZET on Wednesday, I believe we're meeting with them virtually with Ken, Joe, and Doug. IZET will probably take, I would think, a couple of weeks to come up with a concept externally. And then we'll be back with you with the final footprint, even before, once the footprint's done, like the end of this week or early next, we'll ship that off to Joe and
Mhm.
guys, and they can share the final footprint with you in case you have more feedback. We'll meet with IZET. IZET will do maybe their thing for a couple of weeks. And then we'll have a site, look internally, maybe give them some feedback and then come to you with that. And I think after that site layout and you guys are good with some tweaks, then we'd be ready to move forward.
Good. I'd just like to get it somehow circulated so that the public, to the extent that they would have comments, I don't know, are we planning to get this in front of the
Well, I
planning
think we
commission
got-
or on an agenda?
I think we need the seniors too,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
When and where appropriate.
Right.
The circulation needs to occur. Okay.
I think once we get through the site plan part and everybody's good with it, we're then ready to meet the stakeholders, public, however you do the.
Yeah,
I think-
there's a path.
Pretty big circle of stakeholders that's gonna have to come together.
It's a sewer running for your current facility.
It's currently
Under
in
the
the
pool?
back, it's in the back left corner, it goes underneath all the structures and underneath the parking lot. It's
To
new,
where?
it's a couple years old, out the park.
Oh, out to park.
It's
Okay.
pumped.
I know the water, okay, it's the pump. Okay, so this would have to be on
Grinder pump.
grinder pump?
Mhm.
There's no way I mean, that's one of the questions we want to look at. Is there, this, do we want to figure out a way to get to a gravity scenario? You'd rather not pump all this. in
Much
my
nicer,
opinion,
yeah.
but-
And the only comment I had is the maybe bathroom locations, mechanical locations, so that we can consolidate them.
Yeah.
First and second floor, not to have them scattered all over the place, cheaper to build.
Yeah.
Cheaper to run the pipe runs.
Yeah, I think as we.
Because the first and second floor are pretty different.
That's a good point, because right now they are separated.
Well, I like the ones that are right next to the elevator on the second floor, because we do something like that on the first floor also. Yeah, it's more centrally located. And then maybe put satellite bathrooms down each end.
That
Kind of
resolves, at least get somebody in their kitchen.
Yeah.
Bathroom a little bit closer.
Yeah.
A little closer, and then, like I said, we still need something for the kitchen staff, but. So I just like that, maybe it's a perfect thing, but I like to have a separate little bathroom for the kitchen staff if they're not walking through everybody, with the bathroom come back. And it's just a thing.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, if we can stack them, it's the easiest way, it's, just makes it a lot cheaper to build. Like, Chris said, we're gonna have 5,000 feet of pipelines to get anywhere.
We love PVC.
Yeah, I think the only challenge could present is those exterior ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But not all of them
Well,
have.
I'm saying.
But where you
just
can.
Keep
When
them,
you can.
keep
Yeah.
them, and maybe if you could put satellite bathrooms up top, like smaller ones in the back corners, and then put a central one up in the front corner there by the lobby. You
Yeah,
know,
maybe
and
we can
eliminate those other.
pull additional ones on the second floor there.
Yeah,
Got it. Understood. Okay. Good.
And what size elevator?
I don't know. I mean, we'll get to that, but
There's been a request for maybe like a freight sized elevator so that there's, yeah. Yeah.
And whatnot. Let's not skip on that.
yeah,
Yeah, so we.
I think we gotta look at that, but it's gonna be freight for sure because of upstairs.
Right.
Yeah.
We gotta really think about the number of people that be using, which is gonna be a lot.
Yeah, well, fortunately, there are stairwells, right?
Yeah.
You know, it's really, I was thinking more of, we got a bunch of tables down here, you gotta get a bunch of tables upstairs for an event, whatever,
You know, and really, you start looking at that and you think, where are the tables gonna be?
I was wondering that, 'cause I didn't see an elevator room either, so if that counted for that square.
Yeah, the elevators right there in the lobby.
Yeah.
There's an elevator room.
An
Oh,
elevator room
room.
next to it,
Got
that's
it.
gonna be square footage too. I
Yeah.
think.
That's what.
Yeah,
Okay.
The
that's what I was
basement,
wondering.
the basement.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I think overall.
Great.
Good job.
Thank you.
Thank you for the feedback. We appreciate it.
Okay.
We will talk. Eight of your existence.
There we go. Just wanted to at least put it back where it belonged. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Joe.
So just kind of piggybacking on this conversation, we've talked about bringing somebody in to help us with financing and grant opportunities and things like that. So, Grace and I have been doing a little bit of research on firms that do this, that specialize in this type of work. So we're going to be reaching out and talking to them and seeing what we can glean from that. Thanks, everybody. And then bring it back to the board and see if that's something that we're willing to pursue. I think obviously with the cost of a building such as this, that we need to explore every opportunity for funding mechanisms.
Absolutely.
Okay, moving on, just an update on some projects. Bergen Mill Road Bridge hasn't been a whole lot of progress recently. I'm not sure if that's weather related or materials related. Excuse me. Roberts Road Bridge, we're still waiting to hear from Monco Roads and Bridges on our final plan for that. They've taken into account our comments and property owners' comments, so. Yoder Road sidewalk, the two trees that were in the way of the sidewalk have been removed. Bowman has revised their plans to show the concrete aprons. So now we just need to meet with the property owners and get their approval and buy-in on the project. Main Street sidewalk, solicitor continues to work with Smile Realty's attorney. I'm trying to get a contractor's estimate for the work. He hasn't been very successful. So we're basically at the point where we're putting them on notice that we have to move forward regardless, so.
Was there any, I know we mentioned before, payment plan option for them or anything, did they, were there any interest in that?
We haven't even gotten to the point where they give us a real number. So it's difficult to discuss anything further than that.
That's unfortunate.
So, but we continue to work on the other sign relocations for the other properties. Excuse me, some grant projects. The signal modernization at 63 and 113, that project's completed. The Centrax Adaptive and the vehicle detection upgrades for the entire Main Street corridor and Park Avenue and Oak Drive. That project is started. Armor and Sons is the contractor for that. We did run into a communication issue with the fiber between 113 and Oak and Main Street 113. Apparently there was a squirrel that decided to nest in the pole wire protection, the wire guard. So chewed through the fiber. So we're working to get that resolved. The bike lane project, that's an Arley grant. We're looking at late spring for that. It may even push into the summer, not sure. We need to resurface the Grouse Mill and Indian Creek Road because we get the raised pavement markers there. And then also looking to, there's a section of missing shoulder on Yoder Road between Flint Drive and Eastwoods Drive that connects to the new trail that goes into the THP development in Franconia and then also connects to Summerwind. So we're looking to build that shoulder so that we have a continuous bike lane to the trail connection there. The James House demolition, we're actually working on having the utility poles removed since the electric's been disconnected to the barn and the house. There's no need for the utility poles and they may end up being in the way for any future buildings or plans for the property. So we're working with Pico to get those removed and also working on the asbestos evaluation for each of those buildings. Some department activities. We completed the renovation of the fishing pier at Briarwick Park. We replaced some of the floor joists, the deck joists, new decking, new railing, and new benches are being installed. Obviously, winter came back this year. And so since December 20th, we've had 8 events, which have only totaled about 12 inches of snow. So we've done nothing but burn salt this winter. It's just amazing. And the temperatures have really been a driving factor in that as well, because obviously with the lower temperatures, the less effective salt becomes. So it's been a challenge, but you know, we're staying on top of it. And we have more coming this week.
The pre-treatment really does help. I know even in the temperature, it doesn't stay. It's really.
That's when it's critical, having something down so the snow and the ice doesn't bond to the pavement. So if we're continuing, and honestly, we looked at the last storm that we had on Sunday night, just that little piddly half an inch. You know, we actually salted a little heavier than what we normally would have. And the thought was that, you know, it hopefully will eliminate us having to brine for Wednesday's storm, Thursday's storm. So there's going to be salt residual that's still left on the roadway, so that we may have to brine some of the main roads where the traffic kind of exactly just kind of everything becomes, you know, airborne. But so hopefully we've kind of helped ourselves in adding a little extra salt during the salting run the last time.
Well, I gotta tell you, our township compared to Kalamazoo, the last one we had, night and day, and it was a disaster. You could barely, the next day, you could barely drive down Old 40 Road without sliding.
We got a call.
We're clean.
We got an email from upset resident about, Old 40 foot.
Yeah.
That,
Township, and I can say you got a terrific job.
And I can start township here to compare.
Mike, please.
It's fantastic.
And our friends at the car wash appreciate all this.
But no, Doug, you and the crew do a great job.
Thank you, I really appreciate that.
Look at
So
that.
this is the new loader plow that we purchased. We got that early, early January. So we put it to the test on that last storm when we had about 4 inches, 5 inches of snow and put it on 113. So after it was salted and we got into the plowing mode, so that plow and a pickup truck was able to handle 113 easily. And even the, you know, like coming down the hill from Oak to Main Street where it really widens out. So that's this piece of equipment. It's really a game changer for us.
How long did it take them to learn to maneuver that? That's gotta be a little tricky for the operator.
Yeah, it is.
Getting used to that.
Yeah, we had, there were some adjustments that had to be made and, we're still kind of tweaking the controls to try to integrate them into the existing joystick, but, yeah, it took a little while, but we had Phil Landis, who's a fantastic operator, put him in that, and, so yeah, it wasn't as steep a learning curve as, for me, obviously, it would have been really a challenge, but no, that's 20 foot total width. So it's a 10 foot blade with 2 5 foot wings. And those wings go, you know, 90 degrees forward and then go 180 degrees.
I saw
90 degrees
Paul
backward.
Road, that's like.
Yeah,
Like that, just find that cuts.
just the maneuverability. Sorry, Kevin.
That cut.
Oh, absolutely. Especially in cul-de-sacs.
Yeah.
If we've got cul-de-sacs where parking isn't a problem, like you go into Hidden Creek, Mainland Ridge and things, you know, areas like that where you've got, you know, 90 foot cul-de-sacs. Or even, you know, the golf course community. You know, that wipes a cul-de-sac out in about 3 or 4 minutes where it's 15 minutes for a pickup truck. And because you're always constantly dealing with the spillover and where you put it.
Yeah.
Just the maneuverability with, you know, with a loader that articulates. Even the cul-de-sacs that have islands in the middle of them, you know, you can just easily whip around those and direct the snow where you want it to go.
Is it the
So,
whole thing angle or just the two extra?
yeah, the plow itself angles. And then you go 180 degrees forward and back. So, yeah, it's,
Doug, thanks for having the, you know, for bringing this to our attention, purchase this, we're glad it's working.
well, I appreciate the support. It's something that, it's like I said, it's not a $51,000 sitting right there. So it's, you know, it's. We think so. Yeah, we really do, because it's, you know, it's eliminating. Prior to this, we'd have 3 trucks running 113 when we're in plowing, because you have 2 trucks, and then where it widens out, you need a pickup truck to catch the last of it. And then with having this, we can have a dedicated vehicle, dedicated piece of equipment on 113 to maintain the snow. And with this, like, there's 2 foot sections on that plow, and every section floats. So you can actually plow directly in the center of the roadway
Oh,
and still make contact with everything, where the other plows don't float like that. They trip, but they don't float. So it's got a lot of flexibility, and with scraping things cleaner, that's less salt we need behind it to melt things and keep them wet. So yeah, so it's really an impressive piece of equipment. Again, thank you for your support. And
you're gonna be operation, Ralph.
well, we've got another loader that was thinking, you know, maybe in a couple of years, we budget for another one. But yeah, it really is a game changer for our operation, so thank you again.
Good.
Playground pieces, Mike. So thanks to Supervisor Sharon, we were given an opportunity to acquire some used playground equipment from a project that he's doing at the Delaware County Intermediate Unit. So we're looking at repurposing that equipment, and my initial thoughts were that, you know, the vast majority of it would go at Booker Park. We don't have any playground equipment there. We have a hockey court, we have basketball courts. But yeah, so there's a number of pieces there that are very usable. The 2 sunshades, we removed the trees at Rolfe Park at the pond. And we're struggling to figure out what we do for a little bit of shade for people that want to have a picnic or sit there and fish. So those could be used there. That could be, that little, merry-go-round can be,
Like 20-foot canopy.
I think they're 12 feet. Yeah, yeah, I reached out to the manufacturer and the local rep and got drawings for them. And yeah, so and they're encouraged and excited that we're gonna repurpose it rather than have it go in the dumpster.
Good.
The swing sets we can use there, some of the panels, with the daycare, you know, immediately adjacent to Roth Park. Those we can put there, you know, we have space since we reconfigured that park. The playground area at Roth, we got some space where we can fill in some areas with those kinds of features, so I think it's gonna be a huge win for us and, time well spent on repurposing that equipment.
Well done, Professor Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dave.
Thank you for your service.
Great.
So, other work, is just purchasing on print work and sign work. That is all that I have.
All right, moving right along.
Thank you.
Doug?
Brief update on hiring, we have made a conditional offer to the best candidate. Which means there is a psychological, physical examination we did this week. I usually get to get back to you, hopefully by session. Hire, get them in, the latter part of February. It's a current officer, east end of the county, so we have to find some middle ground. Start date. Schedule invitation. Sign the squad, sure, orders up for elections, squad changes take place March 3rd, operation.
But am I hearing correctly, then probably does not have as long a training program if he's in
Well,
London.
you're a veteran. Department is downsizing 8 to 8. It's currently 9, so next personnel.
Ooh.
And they've been holding off to see get joined somewhere else. But he comes with a lot of experience and certifications.
Good.
Wow. So he's an accreditation manager, he's the detective for their department.
Okay, sounds like they're law firm.
I was gonna say, it's unfortunate for them, but. Yeah, thank you.
Oh, you can thank us.
He's a good candidate.
Good to hear.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
All right, very good. Any questions for the chief?
You have any sexy equipment to show us pictures of?
You know. Where were your monster too? No, he needs guns.
Can you pause the recording?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So for the month of January, we issued 35 permits, which is obvious downtick from the months before. Nobody wants to do much of anything during its whole. So there are no zoning hearing board applications for February, and for your February board meeting tomorrow, you're gonna be looking at 196 Main Street. That's only for preliminary plan. So for the final plan and the waivers, those would be considered at your March meeting. The final plan, or I should say potentially considered as March meeting, the final plan has been submitted and will be reviewed by the planning commission later this month. Also, you'll hear tomorrow, Chinmaya has requested another position board of supervisors for an extension of the land development, another 2-year extension for their development at 991 Blue Cup Road. Other items will be discussed at the planning commission later on this month we'll be receiving the reviews for the amendment for the village commercial district and the right-of-way amendments. So our consultants are reviewing those and we should be discussing those at the planning commission level. And like I said before, 196 Main Street final plan as well. And let's see, for March. Yeah, that's everything for February. That's all I have for you.
Thanks, William. Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Beak? Hearing none, we'll move on. Mr. Ducal.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The manager's report is review of the January 6th, 2025 minutes. Anybody have any questions, comments, or changes?
There's a typo, under reorganization of the board. So
Where is that?
reorganization of the board, third thing down. Temporary chairman, Bukowski, call for vote to make supervisor Bergman. Oh, which was this, it's under that, sorry, vice chairman, it's on the next paragraph. Bergman nominates supervisor Chris Canavan as vice chairman, supervisor Sharon Kraus. It's supervisor Kraus. Second, supervisor Kraus, second. Well, looking at this paragraph, I'm like, I swear I saw something that was in the next paragraph. That's all I have.
That's.
Any other copy of paper? We're all. Thank you. On the agenda for tomorrow evening. As Vicky mentioned, resolution 2025-04, preliminary land development approval for 196 Main Street for your consideration. Request for land development extension by Chinmaya, 991 Yukon Road. The amendment to the maintenance agreement for the reserve at Southward. It's all the protract. And so they're basically
Extending their time?
extending their time so they can do the spring here. The final touch side. Under new business, resolution 2025-05, Briarwood Park Stream Restoration Project. This is a Monco 2040 grant application that's being worked on by CKS at this point. 2025 bituminous pavement base repair contract, authorization to advertise, and a 2025 pavement market contract. One we do jointly with Franconian Township, authorization to advertise. Nothing under there, and further under agenda. The next item is the discussion of the inclusive playground at Olive Park. Grace Scully, the special projects coordinator, is working on this and to bring you some ideas that we've been talking about that she's been coordinating extensively. I turn it over to Grace.
Of the current Oliver Park play area to include ADA compliant equipment that's accessible both for children with physical disabilities as well as those with sensory sensitivities. We have met with General Recreation. They have worked on similar projects with neighboring municipalities. Hoping to get plans from them in the next week or so we can see what they've come up with. Once we have those, I believe we'll be looking to speak with local organizations who may directly benefit this type of park that would be fire leak, if anyone has taken that, and peaceful living, as well as possibly having the Souderton School District special education program, inviting them out to park board meeting on the 25th to kind of see what their needs might be and hopefully to gather their support as well. So this will be, like I said, it will be an expansion of the current play equipment area. We let General Recreation know that we're thinking an additional 6,000 square feet would be appropriate. And we'll try to not have really two separate parks, but maybe Doug had an idea of flipping some equipment around that would make it an inclusive park for everyone.
additional 6,000 square feet.
Well, there's lots of, specifications now for equipment that you need to have. All
Lot of
areas,
space.
there's a lot of space in between pieces. Burning hot metal lines and big. Parking lot.
Exactly. And monkey bars, a swing set, and a big concrete half dome. It's like you say. And
Carousel at Lower South, I think it was in golden. Somebody over the fence. Yeah, first. It looks, if they let go, they would go over the fence.
Great, yes.
And great, I think it's wonderful. As I say that, we used to go around with that. So, but, like, I think it's something great.
Alderford Park being right next to Oak Ridge Elementary, I mean, there's a lot of advantage.
That's great. The need is there. I mean, we've had requests for this in the past, at the community center, and it's just fantastic. A lot of that equipment that we're gonna get from DCIE was already ADA compliant, so.
I saw in the pictures, I was wondering if they were ready. That's.
And I bet you that email, feedback from. Kate. She's very interested also, and she's friends with, Beth Moore, who is the park. But her son's in Cub Scout, but she could be, you know, she's wonderful, like, excited that we're doing this. And could be a reason for all of it.
Anything else, Mr. Jacoby? That is it, Mr. Chair. All right, is there a need today for executive session? There's not. So with that, I'm gonna take a motion.
So moved.
Second. Even second, all in favor, say aye. Aye, opposed, say nay. Eric, see everyone tomorrow night.